So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. I'd just like to apologise that the video is a bit later than normal, but I've actually just been playing Rivals with this 4-1-2-on-2 that I'm about to show you that I created earlier today, and I'm surprised at how good it was, and I've actually been really enjoying using it. Here's just one of the goals that I scored in the game that we've just played. Nothing too crazy, but just really nice movements, and it's really easy to attack with, which is something I really like. I think the last goal as well was pretty decent, but it cut out a lot of the build-up. But you can just see the nice movements here. It's just really fun to use. Maybe not the most meta tactics of all time, but they are honestly great if you know how to use them. So yeah, let's get right into the video, guys. If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Okay then guys, so for the actual tactics themselves, they're not too different to a lot of other tactics that I show you guys, but it's mainly the instructions that, you know, make it play the way that it does. But anyway, for the tactics, what we have on them is the defensive style balanced. It does give you the best control over your defense. So when you want to be aggressive, you can do that, and then when you want to be a little bit more passive, you can also do that. When it comes to applying pressure as well, we don't actually need to use any pressure tactics because of something that we'll get onto in a moment. So balanced is the way to go here. Now moving on to the defensive width, guys, I've been trying to preach this quite a lot recently, but I think a lower defensive width is actually better than a high defensive width in this game. This is because if people are going to go for those cutbacks, they'll go for it anyway. You know, you're not really going to be able to prevent that as such. So I think it's much better to have a nice, narrow and compact defense so you can at least stop those attacks through the middle. So I think this is worth it. And yeah, I hope you guys do too. For the depth, guys, I have this on 71. This is the pressure thing that I'm talking about. Pretty much everyone uses this at the moment because it's that overpowered, and you're pretty much putting yourself at a disadvantage if you don't use it. So the reason 71 depth is so overpowered on the new gen version of the game is because it gives you this automatic press from the AI, which is very, very strong. You also get an automatic overload of the ball side, which is very difficult for you, for your opponent to play through. And the most important thing is you actually don't get an additional stamina drain with depth on 71, not as much as you'd expect anyway. So it's better than using the pressure tactics. This is something that I hope EA will fix, but I don't hold out much hope for that anyway. Now for the build-up play, guys, this is pretty basic. We just have it on balance. Gives you the most control when you're building up the play. You can pick and choose when and where you use each form of build-up, really. So sometimes you can play slowly, other times you can play a bit faster. Just more balanced, which is why I like it. Now chance creation, guys, I'm sorry to say this again, but direct passing is absolutely crucial. It's the only tactic which will allow you to beat those park the bus players, because when everyone's camped in the box, what your attackers will do is they'll make those attacking runs, like they'll push very far forward, and then when the opponent's like defender follows them, they will then track back to give you that passing option. It's very boring, but it's very necessary in this game. Now for the width, guys, because this is a narrow formation, I do like to use a really narrow width with it. So 30 width keeps your players nice and tight together, meaning you can play a lot of short, little intricate passes and break through your opponent that way. I actually think a low width is really underrated in this game, even though people always go for those wide attacks. For the players in box, guys, I just have this on 6. Gets quite a few players into the box to help us finish off those chances, but if we lose out possession, we're not always going to get counter-attacked. And as for the corners and free kicks, guys, I just leave these both on 2, but it's up to you what you do with that. Sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but I have noticed around 90% of you that watch the content are not subscribed. So if you are finding any of these videos helpful, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it does help me out massively. Also, don't forget to drop the video a like as well. And with all that aside, guys, let's get back to the video. Now moving on to the instructions, guys. What I will say about the instructions is if you're gonna like this formation, I think you're gonna need the correct players in the correct positions. So let me start off with the strikers. So on the left striker, my more technical striker, I have him on stay central and get in behind. This is so he always stays in those central positions where you want your striker to be, and the get in behind instruction means he's always going to look to use his pace to get in behind the opposition defense. The reason I say your more technical striker in this position is because since they're going to be in those central areas, it's a lot more important for them to have good ball control and be able to make lots of different angles. So your more technical striker, stay central, get in behind. Now for the other striker, I use Erling Haaland, so somebody that is like lengthy, somebody that is strong, somebody that is tall, somebody that can make a lot of runs and might not be as technical as your other player. On this player, I have drift wide, get in behind, and stay forward. So this is always going to be like your main outlet when you're struggling. So because he's on stay forward, he's always going to be up the pitch. Drift wide means a lot of the time he'll drift out towards those fullbacks. So if you're really trying to beat that press and your opponent is just coming at you, if your striker is drifting out wide and you cross the ball, because you're up against the fullback, a lot of the time with somebody like Haaland, you're going to be able to beat that player. And then we also have him on getting behind again, so he can always look to get in behind that high defensive line, which a lot of people use. Now for the cam guys, this is where it's different to a lot of 4-1-2-on-2 tactics out there at the moment. I myself often use comeback on defense, but in this tactic I don't. So this one actually isn't going to defend in a 4-4-2 shape. So on this cam we just have him on get into the box across. This is so he's not hesitant to get into the penalty area to help contribute in those positions. This comeback on defense instruction not being on actually makes a big difference because it completely changes your shape in both the defense and the attack a lot of the time. So by having this cam on basic defensive support, you're not going to have that 4-man midfield all the time, but your cam's always going to be in really good attacking positions when you get the ball back. Now, the midfield, very important guys that you get a really good balance in this midfield because it will affect the performance a lot. So, starting off with the CDM, this one is pretty easy. A lot of players can cover this role. You're going to want a nice medium-high CDM, I think. Somebody that is just going to stay back and break up the play and be a rock for you. So Tchouaméni, I would still say, is the best cheap option in this game. Absolutely incredible player. So a nice medium-high CDM, stay back, cut passing lanes, and cover centre. These are just really defensive instructions on this player. We don't want him going forward because he's a CDM. Cut passing lanes means he's always going to look up to break up the play, and then cover centre means he will actually always defend those central areas. Now for the left centre mid guys, this is my more box-to-box style player, and this is where it gets a little bit more important to have good players in these positions. So on this player, the more box-to-box player, I leave him on the default settings and then actually have him on cover wing. Now because I said we don't make this defend in a 4-4-2, I don't want all of my centre mids covering the central areas because we're going to leave way too much space out wide. So by putting this player on cover wing, a lot of the time he'll go out and cover those wider areas to stop your opponent just, you know, running straight past you on the wing. So cover wing on this player and the rest default settings so we can attack and defend. Now, in the right centre mid spot, I'd probably say this is the most important player to get right in this midfield. So somebody like Antoine Griezmann here is absolutely fantastic. What you're going to want is a high attacker if you can get it, or just a really attacking centre mid. But the work rates and the movement that these players give you is very important. So Griezmann is perfect because he's always making the correct movements. And on this player, we have him on get forward, get into the box across, and cover wing. For the same reason as the left centre mid, we need him to cover those wider areas as we don't have that 4-man midfield, so cover wing's very important there. But because this is a more attacking player, we have him on get forward and get into the box across. This is so this player will always fly forward and help you out on the attack. This player often gets into really obscure positions. With Griezmann, he's pretty much anywhere I want him to be on the field a lot of the time. Sometimes he'll run out wide when I need him there, and other times he's in the middle. Just a fantastic player to have. So get forward, get into the box across, and cover wing on this player, but just ensure you use like a really good high or at least a high medium player in this position because it's crucial. This player will also contribute quite a lot in the defense as well, so if you can get good defensive stats on this player, that is an added bonus. Now for the fullbacks, on my more attacking one, balanced overlap as usual. This is to give us a wider option when we're going forward. Because these are really narrow tactics, it is important to have that wider outlet when you are going forward to help you out if you're struggling. So balanced overlap on this player always gives you that wider option, which is very useful, guys. For the right back, the more defensive player in my case, stay back and overlap. This is so you always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, so you're not always going all guns blazing, and overlap for the same reason as the other fullback, where he will make the overlapping runs to give you that extra width. If you're struggling though and you find it very difficult to defend, you can just put like the box-to-box player on stay back while attacking, or maybe just put the cam on come back on defense and then, you know, the box-to-box player and the CDM on cover center, like a lot of people do. But I kind of just leave them alone. I really enjoy this at the moment. 2 centre backs, leave them alone, and keeper, leave them alone. But yeah, that's everything for the video, guys. If you have enjoyed or found it useful, please be sure to drop it a like, sub to the channel if you are new, so you never miss out on any videos like this one. And don't forget to turn on notifications. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys.